we love helping our customers. And so we just, I don't know, I'm a female in a men's business, so I approach things a little differently for our clients and for my employees. So I'm just different, I guess, and that's how I run my business.
In today's podcast, we interview Robin Johnson, High Road Heating and Cooling. She's been in business for 13 years. She's a woman-owned business in dominantly a men's industry. She shares some great nuggets for us to take away, including be the boss that you want to work for. She talked about being transparent and just having good communication with her employees and her team. And then she tells a story about how we should always be networking and gives us the perfect example of a literal elevator pitch. So check out today's podcast. Robin Johnson, High Road Heating and Cooling. And she said, make the first move. My name's Travis Sims, and I am the founder and CEO of AGC Accelerated Global Connections. And this is the AGC Experience.
Today's broadcast was brought to you by Beyond Design, where they work to provide businesses with affordable and individualized marketing through quality design and strategic implementation in online media promotions, print advertising, events, and public relations marketing. You can find Holly Brunette and her team at Beyond Design at graphicbeyonddesign.com. And note, anytime you see the AGC logo at one of our events on a sign, print, or social media post, you will know that Holly and her team at Beyond Design took great care of us.
Well, I am super excited to be here today with the AGC Experience podcast guest, Robin Johnson. And Robin Johnson is with High Road Heating and Cooling. And I've known Robin for a few years now, and I'm super excited because, Robin, you're not only an AGC member, but you're also a leadership team member on our Minnetonka team. And I'm excited to learn your story. The beautiful thing that I love about doing this podcast is I get to learn more about the person behind the business. And by the way, we have listeners and watchers that are watching and listening from all over the world on today's podcast. So if you're listening or watching, thank you. And please share this podcast with others. We appreciate our watchers and our listeners. And so, Robin, I'd love to get to know you, the person behind the business, where you came from, how you got started, a little bit more about you, and just what motivates you and inspires you, and what has created your biggest successes or some of your failures and how you overcame them. And so we're going to learn all about Robin Johnson today. Robin, please take just a few minutes. Tell us a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself to the audience.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. I love being an AGC member. Just, you know, I'm a true blue Minnesotan, born and raised here, went to college here. Everything about me is, my blood is Minnesota. So I love this state. I love our four seasons. And so I own a heating and cooling company, and people are like, how'd you do that? Well, I went into interior design years ago and came out not really liking it. I love doing the design work, but not really working the evenings, the weekends, all that kind of stuff. And so I found my path into construction, which led me to heating and cooling. And 13 years ago, I branched out and started High Road Heating and Cooling with two guys, an installer and a service tech. And we had a great time. We started May 7th of 2007. And we all know what happened in 2008, 9, and 10. We had a major recession hit, and High Road is still here. So we worked through that. We love helping our customers. And so we just, I don't know, I'm a female in a men's business. So I approach things a little differently for our clients and for my employees. So I'm just different, I guess. And that's how I run my business.
Yeah. Well, awesome, Robin. You hit on a couple things there that I'd like to expand on just a little bit. The big thing for me, first of all, I want to know, before I get into those things, is High Road Heating and Cooling. Where did the name come from, High Road?
Well, my two former business partners, we were sitting around the table trying to figure out what our name wanted to be, our initials, you know, all that kind of stuff. And we kept seeing, well, we want to be a contractor on the high road. And we just kind of like, okay, let's be high road heating and cooling. And it was that simple. And it's our philosophy as well.
Oh, really neat. I was curious behind that. I was like, what? Where did the high road come from?
Yeah.
And so that's awesome to know. So you shared, first of all, that you started a business during the recession. And right now, we in this we'll date this podcast a little bit, but
Hmm.
we're as of today with the coronavirus outbreak, we are finding ourselves on shelter in place in Minnesota, just like many states around the country. And it reminds me a lot of the recession. Now, this is way different than the recession because it affects people's health and their safety and their well-being. However, for the small business owner, for the salesperson, for the entrepreneur, for the CEOs of big companies who have employees and they're trying to think, how am I going to keep my employees working and all these things? It reminds me a little bit of the recession. So I'm curious from you, starting a business in the recession for because you know, I think during a recessionary period or during a critical time in history, there are more businesses that are in bankruptcy and closings than ever before during those times. But there's also more businesses that are starting up, that are brand new, that are getting creative because they have to figure out how they're going to put food on the table. So if I was a listener, if I was watching this podcast right now and I was listening to you, knowing that you started a business during the year of a recession, and now you're still here 13 years later and getting ready and currently going through a critical time in history. What advice do you have?
The best thing I can say is during the recession, we didn't slow down. We kept doing our marketing. We kept calling customers. We kept being on touch with them. We're doing the same thing now. I was on a webinar just on Wednesday evening talking about how can I advertise my business better, more efficiently in the homes and get in front of people because we're an essential business. So we still will remain open. You still need heating and cooling in Minnesota this time of year. You need indoor air quality products, filters, and things like that to protect the air you're breathing in your home or office. And so it's not time for us, and I recommend anyone to do what you can to keep your business in front of everyone rather than dial it back. So we're going full force as best we can and educating our clients. For instance, yesterday I emailed a couple of clients, actually a handful of them, about a product that they need to replace in their home. It's time to do that. And all four of the five went for it. They totally forgot about this product in their home, and it can help during this particular situation with COVID-19. And so it's just now I'm thinking, okay, what's the next product that we can share with our homeowners and our clients to help them feel safe and comfortable rather than, oh my gosh, I don't want to bother them. They're at home. I don't
Yep.
want them to feel like I'm too pushy. No, I'm going from a place of trying to help my clients and my homeowners. So keep pushing through, keep finding ways that you can do a little mailer, you can do an email, you can post something on social media, something so people know what you're doing, as well as ask for help. I asked for help from a lot of people during that recession. Hey, can you keep me in mind with somebody who says their air conditioner has stopped working? Would you refer them to me? Ask your family and your friends. They have friends and they have other family that can also help you. So keep the word going. Keep people knowing that you need business and you want business and ask them to help you.
And Robin, I think that's just absolutely fantastic advice. You said a couple things there that I want to reiterate because I believe in also, and I think a lot of times in a crisis situation, and people want to go and hibernate. They want to get in their cave. They almost want to curl up like that infant in the bed and get in protection mode. And now is the time. They're using the words like social distancing right now, and I
Right.
wish I wish they'd have used the word physical distancing,
I think
not
that's a good
social.
idea. Yeah.
Because now is not the time to be unsocial. Now I get it physically because that makes sense to protect people's health, to protect their safety, to protect their wellness. But we need to be more social now more than ever. We need a support team. You need a
Right.
network. You need
Yes.
help. You said ask for help. And I think, if people have the means to do so, they understand that small businesses do need help right now. And it's important to support those small businesses. But I love that you said stay in contact, stay in front of them, reach out to them by phone, get in touch with them, put something on social media. And just yesterday, we sent a text out to all AGC members. We've sent an email when this first broke. We have been doing regular broadcasts. We created a Facebook group exclusive for our members. We created a group that's open to the public. We're consistently looking for how can we add more value to our members, just like you're doing with how can you look at a product that's based upon a solution. I think every small business owner that looks at what do they have to offer, it's like there is a problem here. How do we create a solution for this problem? So
Correct.
well done, great advice. I want to ask you next, if I can. You said this in your opening statement that I'm a woman and I'm
Yes.
in what's often referred to as a man's business or a industry that's really driven by men business owners. So, what is it like for you as a women business owner and working in that environment? Has it helped you win? What struggles have you had because of it? How have you overcome them?
Well, it's interesting because when I walk into a training room, when you have trainees, I'm usually a female in there. I'm considered someone's wife.
Ah,
I'm considered the admin. And when they find out I'm the owner, they look at me funny. And then they ask why. Um, and I keep saying, well, I'm capable and I love this industry and I hate being hot. So yeah, I'm in the perfect industry for my particular comfort level. And we make a joke about it. But I have clients that have said, what do you know about heating and cooling? Granted, I'm not in your basement putting in your furnace, but I know how it goes in. I'm there to give you that's a box of comfort for my clients. I want to get the right box of comfort for your home in your basement so that you are comfortable for the next 20 to 25 years with the product that I helped you select. And I'm very good at that because I can whittle down to see what you need. And then we work with your budget and your needs to pick out the right system for you. I also am an options person. I sell to people the way that I want to be sold. I run my company different. I'm family focused with flexible schedules for my team. So I'm just doing things differently and I like it and it works for me. And I am strong. I'm a strong female, if you haven't figured that out already. And so I'm doing it my way and it's working and I love it.
oh, that's awesome. I think that you said something that resonated with me, and that is that like as the owner of the company, you don't have to be the person who's in the crawl space.
Right.
What you do have to be is the person that knows what your customers need, what the solution is, and have a team of people around you to be able to facilitate that. So I
Correct.
want to ask you about your team. You said, "Hey, I've got a team of guys." How many people do you have working with you now currently? How
There's
many
five
trucks?
of us. There's five of
Five of
us.
you.
I have two
Okay.
trucks. I have
Okay.
Sarah who runs my office and answers the phone. I just hired Larry. He's a sales rep now. I need help in that area because being a business owner and running company and helping customers, I need someone to help bring business to the door. And then I
Mhm.
have Dennis, who was my former business partner. He and I were two of the three people that started the company. He's my head installer. He's fabulous at what he does. He's got a can-do attitude. When we work with remodelers, he can figure out how to make things happen for the homeowner without having to tear the house apart to get done
Yeah.
what needs to be done. And then we have Jason, who's our service tech, and he can solve almost any problem. So he's a nice guy. People really like him, and I love my team. I would like it to be larger, but as many people know, our trades are suffering from people not going into the trades. And so our resources for employees are limited. So if I can make a plug that if you have college age students, please convince them to go into an essential business like heating and cooling,
Yeah.
plumbing, electrical, and take their career there. It's a very nice career.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious, since you have a business of 5, you have a team of people that you're running, and I'm curious what advice you would give other business owners and salespeople who are managing employees or who are managing teams of people that are their support people. What advice do you have for them?
I I always want to be the boss that I wanted to work for. And that can be challenging too, because there's the things I want to do, but my pocketbook doesn't allow me to do. And there's things that I would like to be able to do, but legally I can't, So you have to be very careful. But keep your people motivated. I'm an open book with my employees and my team. They know what's happening in my business and how it's going. Um, During the first quarter of the year, it's always a slow time, so we struggle to fill the calendar, but they know what we're doing. I keep them informed of everything we're doing. And then last quarter of the year, it's always push, push, push because we're so busy because our winter in Minnesota starts and people get scared that they're not going to have heat. So they're working a lot of hours and trying to keep them motivated and my team working together and communicating. So as long as I set the example of communicating, I'm hoping that they will pick that up and communicate as a team.
Awesome. So you heard it here. She said, be the boss that you want to work for. I wrote it down. I was
Okay.
like, that is great. I love that. And transparency and communication
Hmm.
is key. And so I think that those are great things, not knowing or wondering if you're going to have a light week or a heavy week or what that's going to be, but helping your employees plan for, hey, know that we're going into this time in the season. Here's what to expect. Remember to put a little bit of money back so that you can
Right.
pay your bills during this time because we're going to have light hours.
Hmm.
Remember, now you're going to work really hard. Remember when you wanted that extra money back when things are light? Now's the time when
Right.
we're going to get it. So, no, I think that's great advice. Fantastic.
I
Yeah.
also ask them to communicate with their families too, so their families know I'm going to be working late or I'm going to be home early or I have this project that's going to take the next couple of weeks. This is what you can expect, for me coming home. I just encourage them to do that so that everybody knows because I don't want them to have to go home to an unhappy household because of something my company created.
Oh, that's just fantastic advice. You know, um, I've heard, and I'm probably going to get the quote wrong, but the gist of the quote is that people bring their work home.
Hmm.
And if your spouse is not happy with who you're working for, if they're always saying, oh, that company, that boss, look what they're doing, and you have that in your ear the whole time, you're going to have an unhappy employee and you're going to have someone that's not going to stay with you long term
Right.
because their household is not happy with
Hmm.
who they're working for. So I think, again, you're giving us some really great nuggets. It doesn't matter what business you're in. And that's what I love about interviewing in these podcasts is that, and listeners and audience at home, is that it doesn't matter what the business is that we're interviewing. You might go, I don't have any interest in heating and air conditioning. It's just not my thing, right?
Right.
But you're giving us some amazing business tips and nuggets that it doesn't matter what business you're in, you can apply these tools to your business and thrive and survive. And so thank you for that. And leading on from that, I want to ask, what do you think has helped your business grow most?
I think because we offer options to our clients, but more importantly, networking. I'm a big networker. Um, and so, and I learned early on if you ask for help, people will help you. So, when I go to a networking event, this is one secret I learned years ago. When you introduce yourself, hi, I'm Robin Johnson, people say, what do you do? And I tell them, I'm a heating and cooling contractor, and I'm looking for this person. This is who I work with. And since I've taken my introduction that next step, all of a sudden people are willing to step up and help me if they know someone that I've just requested. For instance, I was in an elevator in Las Vegas, believe it or not, and a woman and I were in the elevator. I didn't know her. Excuse me. She didn't know me. And she's like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I told her I own a heating and cooling company in Minnesota. She's like, oh, my sister lives in Minnesota.
Ah,
I'm like, oh, really? That's kind of cool. Where, we're riding up
yeah.
in this tall elevator, and she's like, well, what do you do? I go, well, I own a heating and cooling company, and I'm looking for office suites, office condos, and things like that. She's like, oh, well, my sister owns about several office condo buildings. Would that be a good introduction to you?
Oh my
I'm in Las
goodness.
Vegas, and I
Yeah.
get one of my biggest clients that I've ever had because I decided to take my introduction one step further. So that's helped me. So I hope that sharing that tip can help others.
Absolutely. You're hitting on this networking thing. What is this networking thing you're speaking of? Uh, uh,
It's called AGC.
I know I'm teasing you, of course.
Yes.
I've said that over and over and over, and that is that always be networking. There's never
Correct.
a time that you stop networking. And what a great story, because not only did you share that you should always be networking, but you literally shared the importance of an elevator pitch.
Right.
I
In
mean,
an
that
elevator.
in an elevator. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. Literally, you're in an elevator, you're in Las Vegas, you're still networking, and you're giving your elevator pitch, and it
Mhm.
got you results. That
That's
is
right.
fantastic. And I think a lot of people are intimidated about sharing who they are, what they do. And this is something I want to hit on this for a minute, because I'd love to hear your thoughts on this particular topic, because it relates to networking and men and women and how they network differently.
Hmm.
Okay.
Sure.
So not only in your industry is it more dominant by men than women, but so is networking, so is business in all things. Now, obviously, women-owned businesses have continued to grow and prosper and come up, and I think they continue to will. And but it's been a man's world for way too long, because we do it poorly. I'm just
Hmm.
saying we do it
Yeah.
poorly. Networking, that is, because
Yes.
most men will, when they're networking, the first thing they're doing is they're saying, here's who I am, here's what I do, and here's why I'm great at it, and here's all the degrees I have, and here's all the awards I have. And they just blow up all this stuff on you. And then if I ask, if I'm networking with another woman-owned business owner or another women salesperson, I'll say, so what is your name and what do you do? And they just barely give me any information. I have to pull it out of them. And what I've found in networking is that because men operate that way, they're more transactional. Women tend to be more relational, more nurturing. Like they want to be givers before they're receivers, and so
Hmm.
on. So I'm curious now, what have you experienced while networking? How have you managed that to get that? Have you always had that bravery to just to say, here's who I am, here's what I do, and see where it lands? Or how did you learn that? Um, Expand a little bit.
Well, my mother says I came out of the womb very brave little girl. So, yes, I think it's just part of my nature. But I've figured if I don't have a backbone and if I don't ask questions, I'm not going to get. It'll be a waste of my time. And so I'm very vocal, or I'm happy to say, hey, Travis, what do you do? And I've learned that I can say, this is what I do, and this is how you can help me. And for some people, that's going to be very hard. So I'll give you a little secret. I practice in the mirror every time before I go to a networking event. I pretend I'm having a conversation with a very attractive female that's looking back at me, I think,
Uh,
and just have a little fun with it. So I have my backbone before I walk in the door. That's what I do. That's a secret that I can share with the group here. That just practice, and practice makes perfect. And you might stumble. I've flubbed. I've stumbled, but they don't know you very well, and they don't know that sometimes you stumbled or flubbed. And just keep going. Just keep moving on, because you're there because you want your business to survive and thrive. And so your goal. I go into an AGC meeting hoping I can meet one person that I can either help or they can help me. And I've always more than doubled that in every meeting I've gone to. But it takes practice.
wow. Uh, full of great advice, Robin. I'm so glad I've had you here on the podcast. And I think again, a lot of people are intimidated by doing networking and
Hmm.
and giving advice that, people, I think people want to see you win. I mean, as a
Yes.
human race, I believe that there is more good in the world than there is bad. And I also think as business owners, salespeople, as entrepreneurs, we want to help each other. Why? Because we're all doing the same thing. We're trying to grow our business. We're trying to meet more people. We're trying to develop more relationships, and we're forgiving
Yes.
because we know that hey, I might mess up too, right? I'm
Of
human.
course.
We're all human. And you said practice in the mirror. That's another really great little tip. I thought I was the only one that did that. And
Well, I
so,
admit it, I do it too, Travis, so we're together.
oh, there you go. And the mirror is a really powerful thing. It absolutely is. And not just for practicing your pitch, but it's also where you share um, your I am statements,
Hmm.
uh, daily affirmations is a great place to do that in the mirror. And sometimes if you're watching or you're listening at home and you're going, oh my gosh, I've never even considered that would be weird, how would I do that? I'm telling you, it might be weird at the beginning, but before long it becomes really powerful. And if you are constantly, our biggest voice is the one that's inside our own head, and we often get in our own way.
Yes.
So every day I get up and tell myself all the things that I need to hear for me to have a fantastic day. And I
Hmm.
start my day with that. And then I end my day with gratitude, the things that I'm thankful for, the things that I'm grateful for, that happened that day, or the people that I got to talk to that day. And if you can start your day that way, you can end your day that way. The middle, I promise you, is going to be way, way better.
Yes.
So you hit on networking a little bit. I'd like your thoughts around, and I don't know exactly. This podcast is likely going to air in the next month, potentially 2 months. But everyone who's listening or watching will have been affected by the coronavirus in some way,
Hmm.
whether it's someone they know that has it, or someone sick, a death, or a loss of a business, or they're trying to keep their business up and running and afloat. And we've talked about networking for so long and how important it is and building your network. Do you have any advice for people that right now are going, I haven't done a lot of face to face networking,
Hmm.
and now it's all online? So what are your advice for staying connected and networking in an online world, in a virtual world?
Well, I think we forgot about the phone. There's also the phone as well. You can pick up the phone and call someone. I just did that with a woman that I network in another organization. And I just said, "Hey, how are you doing?" Next thing you know, we have a online um, call that we're going to do, just like we're doing with this podcast, to see how we can help each other. She was integral in my business, and I can help her. That doesn't need to stop through this, but also I think through this situation that we're having in the world, networking now is more important, either face to face, and we can't do that right now. So you got to get on the phone. You have to get on your email. You got to get on social media. You have to do something. Well, I had a group of women that are business owners. We got together last Friday in a Zoom call and all went through and said, okay, how can I help you? And we started forwarding posts, sharing posts that we put on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. People are there to help you, but you have to network. You might have to be the one that makes the first move. You might be the one that has to pick up the phone. You're the one that's going to have to approach everybody just like you do in a face-to-face networking meeting. You have to dial the phone. You have to pick up the computer.
Love it. She said, "Be first,"
Yeah,
and I think that's great advice. Don't always be waiting on everyone to reach out to you. Be the one to
correct.
reach out to others. So that's what great leaders do. So since we're talking about networking and you've been an AGC member, I think from the very beginning,
Yes, I
and
have been. Hmm.
yeah, and not only did you say, "Hey, I want to be a member, but I want to be a leader within the organization. I want to help."
Sure.
And so I'm curious for you, what is it about AGC? Why has it attracted you? Why do you do that?
Well, I was brought in because a friend of mine, Amy Tyson, is on your team and she asked me to help out. You asked to help out. I thought, heck, this is a new idea. Networking is important for my business. So I go and meet people. You have to have a purpose. And so I met a promotional products person that I didn't really need at the time, but she's introduced me to, I don't do commercial heating and cooling, but there's a lot of commercial heating and cooling companies out there that don't offer residential services. She's now teaming me up with those commercial companies so I can be who they refer their clients to when they want something done in their home. And I, in turn, need someone to refer commercial business to. I've met a property manager that I'm doing a lot of work on their equipment in all of their properties. So it's introducing me to people that I would never get to see. I would never meet. And so I'm really excited about that. I like how it's done in a professional setting. It's not in a sleazy bar or a dark bar. It's a professional setting. And you have a business model where there's education and a speaker, and we promote doing business in AGC rather than being in a bar at happy hour and calling it a networking event. So that's what I really like.
Well, I love. I'm gonna hit on one thing that you shared, and that is that when you're attending a networking event, I think a lot of people are looking at who in the room could buy from me,
Mm-hmm,
who could I sell to in this room. But what you just shared was it wasn't about the people in the room. Like, the promotional products person, you didn't
mm-hmm,
need promotional products. She didn't need heating and air conditioning.
right,
But this person was then able to connect you and refer you to the people that you could do business with.
right,
I've said for forever that it's less about who's in the room and more about who's in the room and who they know. The
right.
average person knows 250 people, and they're 250 different people than what you know. And those are the people you're trying to reach. The person you're speaking to is the catalyst to reach all of those other people. So
Mm-hmm.
great advice. So I'd like to, if we could, Robin, I'm sure there are people that are listening right now that are watching this podcast, have pulled all these great nuggets out from it, just like I have, and they want to know how to find you, how to reach you. And if they're a Minnesota-based company or homeowner and they are interested in your service, where do they find you? How do they find you?
Best place is our website, highroadheating.com, and that's high, High, roadheating.com. Um, they, it, you can email us there or you can call us from there, but it's got a lot of information about our business.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Robin. We
Sure.
appreciate that. And I want to thank you for being such an awesome guest. I
Well,
appreciate
thank
it
you.
so much for being on here and sharing such great wisdom. 13 years in business, survived the recession, going to come out on the other side of the coronavirus,
You bet.
continuing to thrive and grow, lead your team, and do amazing things. So I want to speak now to our audience that's watching and listening at home. I want to say thank you. Thank you for tuning in and giving us your 30 minutes. Thank you for supporting our podcast. And if you're interested in learning how to be a sponsor of our podcast, please reach out to me. We'd love to help you do that. We're reaching hundreds of people, not only in Minnesota, all over the country, all over the world with our podcast. So please continue to watch. Please hit subscribe and please hit share. So thank you guys. Thank you, Robin. Until
Thank
next
you.
time, we're the AGC Experience.
This podcast was produced by Elation Studios. Go to www.elationstudios.co to learn more. Elation Studios. Discover your voice, clarify your vision, build your life.